Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for watching one of my videos once again. And if you're new here, welcome. I hope you do stay and become a part of my journey as I become Dr. Andy. On this channel, I post everything medical student life, study tips, all information that you need to know about medicine and other health sciences careers through my podcast Med Chat. So please do click that subscribe button if you are interested in that type of content. So on today's video, I'm going to be giving you tips on how to finish your exams quicker or on time. As a slow writer, I used to struggle with this a lot, especially in high school. I would not finish my exams at all, and that will cost me a lot of marks and definitely reduce my confidence because I would be anxious the whole time that I am not going to finish the exam, especially when the exam is content heavy like your languages or like biology, geography and stuff like that. But as I progressed along the way, I adapted some skills that helped me finish my exams before time and have enough time to go back and double check and triple check my answers to make sure that I didn't make any mistake or I didn't miss anything out. And I'm about to share with you these tips today so that you go ace those exams and you actually finish on time. So the first tip is have a watch, preferably a digital watch, where you can keep track of time or have access to time in the form of a clock in your exam room. Make sure that it is visible or it's in front of you so that you can know exactly how much time you have left throughout your exam. Number 2, know how much time you have to write your exams, and on top of that, know how many marks that exam is. I know this could be quite obvious information. You could know that, okay, I am writing a 3-hour exam and the total marks are 150. But do you know how many marks is 1 minute or how many minutes is 1 mark? That is the key important thing to know, so that you know how much time you spend on each question. So before you get to your exam room, you need to know how much time you need to spend for each mark. For an example, if your exam is a total of 180 minutes, which is an hour, and the total mark is 150, you're going to say 180 divided by 150 and it's going to give you 1.2, which means for each mark in that exam, you need to spend 1.2 minutes. And if you go above that, it means that now for other questions or other marks, you need to spend less time on it. So now if you know that 1 mark is equal to 1.2 minutes, you are able to calculate how much time you need to spend on each question. For an example, if the question in total, it has 20 marks, you're going to say 1.2 times 20 and it's going to give you 24 minutes, meaning for 20 marks, you need to spend a maximum of 24 minutes in that question. Tip number 3 is that when you receive your question paper, before you start writing, browse through all the questions. This will help you to know which questions are you actually familiar with or which questions you might find easy to attempt. And these are most likely the questions you would like to start with. Number 2, you will be able to note down questions that requires answers that you might forget. For example, you memorized this night before, or it's something that it is like a lot of content that you might forget. So when you see that question, immediately take a pencil and note down bullet points, sort of like brainstorming, because if also you're going to be writing a 3-hour long exam, some questions you're going to be answering them after 2 hours. That time you're tired, your brain is not as fresh. So if there are questions like essay questions, questions with a lot of marks, you want to note down like bullet points so that when you go to those questions, even if you are a little bit tired, at least you used your fresh mind to brainstorm, and then when you get there, you have a sense of direction on how to answer and what exactly to write down. Number 4, this is one tip that I never knew about up until I reached matric. So Ever since I started school, I knew that if it is question 1, you have to start answering it. You know, you have to go in order, like answer question 1, 2, 3, 4 in that order. But when I reached matric, I learned that actually the order doesn't matter. As long as you write the full question in one page or one section, it doesn't matter how it goes. So my advice to you is start with the question that is easier for you. If you look through and you think question 11 is the one that is easier, I can pretty much answer everything quickly, start with question 11. You do not have to skip pages and write question 11 on page 11. You can write question 11 on first page. It really doesn't matter, even in your matric final exam. That's what I used to do. Like my scripts are kind of like all over the place, because I would start with like question 8, follow with question 2, follow with question 5, and maybe like do a multiple choice towards the end. So it really doesn't matter the order at which you choose to answer your questions. So make sure that you start with the questions that are easy and you can get done with them quicker, so that you reserve a lot of time for the questions that are a little bit more challenging and you need more time to think. So you might think that starting with the hard questions or the questions with a lot of marks is actually a good idea, but that can cause you delays, especially if you are struggling to answer that question. If you have to sit down and actually think about what to answer, you can't remember the answer, you have no idea what to do, don't get stuck in that question. Start with the question that is easier and leave that hard question for the end. The next point is for my people who like explaining too much. I was this person, especially in my early grades, like grade 8, grade 9. Oh my god, I wouldn't mind answering a 2-mark question with a paragraph. Please don't do that. That is just one biggest mistake people do. Number 1, you write slow, and on top of that, you wanna give paragraphs as answers. Make sure that you keep your answers as precise as possible. Bullet points don't matter as long as the important points are there. You do not have to write everything in paragraphs or everything in full sentences, especially if you are not writing a language exam. If your question is 2 marks, at least 2 lines, maximum 2 lines. You know, sometimes it could be 2 words even, depending on what they are asking you. There is literally no need for you to write half a page if a question is just asking you to define something or is asking you to give 2 types of something. So make sure that your answers match the mark allocation and do not over explain stuff. The next tip might be quite hard for people who are constantly anxious in their exam. You know, when you write something and you are not sure about, you want to read the question again, you want to check your answer again. Yes, double checking, triple checking your answers is good. But if you're gonna answer a question and then go back to it 3 times while there are a lot of questions that you haven't answered already, that can cause a lot of delay. So make sure that you attempt each and every question once and then double check all of them in that order. Don't just write one question, double check, triple check. Go to the next question, double check, triple check. You might not get time to reach the last question. Okay, this one I've never really experienced a challenge with, but you might be experiencing a challenge with it. So when you're writing your exams, minimize taking breaks. I am talking about toilet breaks and just random breaks. I know sometimes it is so easy to zone out in your exam because it is so long and it is easy to get distracted, but try to stay focused as possible. So make sure that you use your toilet before you start your exams, and make sure that you do not drink a lot of water during your exams, because drinking water during your exams as well might distract you or might delay you when it comes to writing. I mean, taking sips here and there if you are thirsty is not a bad idea, but don't just like now drink a lot of water, because then you're gonna go to the toilet a lot of times, and that takes time away from writing your exams. And number 2 is make sure that please you arrive on time. This was supposed to be my first point, because if you arrive late in your exam, it means that you have less time to write your exam and you are most likely not going to finish. So make sure that you arrive on time for your exams. Actually arrive before time, like at least 30 minutes before your exams, so that you get time to read through your instructions, read through your questions, write down your name, your exam number, or any other details that you have to write on your answer sheet. And then you get to relax and be able to start the exam in a good note. Because if you are late, you get there, you have to rush through reading instructions, rush through reading the questions, rush through writing your name. Now you're forgetting to write your exam number and all of sorts of things, and now you're going to be pacing when you are writing your exam, and that will lead you to making a lot of mistakes. Keep track of time. Don't only know that, okay, my exam is 3 hours and I have this much time to write this question. Keep track of your time. Know that it is 1 hour left, it is 30 minutes left, it is 15 minutes left. And when you know that, make sure that you page through the questions and you see how many questions you have been answered, so that you can increase or adjust your pace accordingly. If you have 30 minutes left and you see that there are like about 50 marks that have not been attempted, then you know that you need to pick up your pace. So the last tip that I am going to give you is actually like 2 tips in one. So make sure that you have only what you need when it comes to writing material. I know that we love to have big suitcases of pencil cases with a lot of highlighters, a lot of crayons, glue, staplers, and all sorts of stationery. You do not need that for your exam, because if you're gonna take all of that material to your exam room, you're gonna spend a lot of time trying to dig for that pencil, trying to dig for that pen, and that delays you. So make sure that when you go to write your exam, you have your pen, at least 2 pens, because it might happen that one runs out. So at least 2 pens, you have your pencil, you have your sharpener. Make sure that your pencil is sharpened before the exam. You have your eraser, you have your ruler, and you are good to go. If maybe you're writing like geography or something, make sure you have your protractor, make sure that you have your string. Geography people know what I'm talking about, and leave the rest of the cute stuff outside of it. And the last point is, don't focus on making your exam script pretty. In your exam, there's no time for decorating, painting, drawing, highlighting, everything to make it look cute. The only thing that you have to make sure of is that your handwriting is neat and someone can read it. Those are the only 2 important things. Other things don't matter. So we've come to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching up until the end. Let me know if you found this video useful. Comment which one is your favorite tip, or the tip that you are going to use. And if you are a person who has mastered this thing of finishing exams on time, please drop down a tip below, because we want to hear it, especially if I have not mentioned that tip. And please don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends who are also struggling with finishing their exams on time, and make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll see you again on my next video. Bye.